Hey there. Have you ever just stopped and wondered what actually happens when you click a button on an app? It seems so simple, right? Almost like magic. Well, today we're going to pull back that curtain and show you the simple yet super clever logic that makes it all tick. So let's take a look at this calculator. This is going to be our magic trick for today. You dab a few numbers, hit the plus sign, and bam, the answer just appears. But it's not magic, not at all. It's really more like a perfectly choreographed dance, and we're about to break down every single step. So this is the real question, isn't it? When your finger taps that screen, what kind of chain reaction does it set off inside the computer? It's a journey that goes from what you see deep into the code and then right back out to the screen again. Let's start that journey together. Okay, first things first. Before we can understand the button, we need to understand the world it lives in. Think about it. Every app you use has a visual stage, a place where all the action happens. In the programming world, they call this the user interface. Right, the graphical user interface, or what you'll often hear called a GUI. That's literally everything you can see and touch: the windows, the menus, the little text boxes, and of course, our buttons. It's like a movie set, and every single prop on it has a job to do. So the foundation of this whole stage is something called the form. And it's really simple. It's just the main window of the app. It's the container, the box that holds everything else together. Without the form, there's nowhere to put the buttons. And then you've got the text box. Now this guy is super important. It's a two-way street. It's where you, the user, get to type stuff in, like the numbers on our calculator. But it's also where the program talks back to you, showing you the answer. It's the main communication channel. And now for our star of the show, the button. Its job is incredibly simple, but so powerful. It literally just sits there, waiting for you to click it. And the moment you do, it kicks off a very specific action that a programmer wrote beforehand. It's the go signal for the whole operation.
All right, so we've seen the stage, we've met the actors, now it's time to go backstage and look at the script. This is where we find the actual code that tells our button exactly what to do when it gets its big moment.
And check this out. This is the direct connection. On the left, you see the OK button. That's what we see. The instant it gets clicked, it runs that little piece of code on the right. Now, don't worry about the weird syntax. Just look at what it's saying. It's a direct order. Hey, program, take whatever text is in text box 1 and put it inside label 1. That's it. A visual thing is directly linked to an action. Okay, so here are the two most important words you're going to learn today. Your click, that's called an event. And the specific chunk of code that springs into action because of that click, that's the event handler. This whole relationship, an event happens, a handler responds, is the absolute heart and soul of how interactive programs work. But for an event handler to do something useful, like say add two numbers, it needs a couple of things. It needs a way to remember information, and it needs a way to make decisions. So let's peek into how these programs actually think. The secret weapon here is something called a variable. And the easiest way to think about a variable is just as a labeled box sitting inside the computer's memory. When the calculator needs to remember the first number you typed in, it just puts that number in a box and slaps a label on it, maybe something like first number. Now there's a really strict rule here, and it's super important. A programmer can't just use one of these memory boxes whenever they feel like it. They have to declare it first. It's basically like telling the computer ahead of time, hey, just so you know, I'm going to need a box, I'm going to call it total, and I'm only going to put numbers in it. It just keeps everything neat and tidy. Okay, so the program can remember stuff, great, but that's not really thinking, is it? Thinking is about making choices. And at the most fundamental level, a computer makes a decision by doing one simple thing. It compares two pieces of information. Is this number bigger than that one? Are these two names the same? And to ask those comparison questions, programs use this simple toolkit called relational operators. You'll definitely recognize most of these from math class, right? We've got symbols for greater than, less than, and of course equal to. This is the basic language a program uses to weigh its options. So, when you use one of those symbols to compare two things, you create what's called a condition. And a condition is just a question that can only have one of two answers, true or false. For instance, is the score greater than 100? And that simple true or false answer is all a program needs to use its most powerful decision-making tool, the if-then statement. And the logic is just Beautiful. It's so simple. First, the program checks the condition. Is it true or is it false? If it's true, it runs one set of instructions. If it's false, it runs a totally different set. It's a fork in the road. If it's raining, then I'll take an umbrella. Else, I'll wear sunglasses. Simple as that. Let's look at a real example in code. First, the program grabs a number someone typed in and stores it in a variable called myNumber. Then comes the big moment, the if statement. It checks, is my number greater than 100? If that's true, it shows the message, congratulations. Else, meaning if it's not true, it shows, sorry. That's it. That's a decision in action. Okay, deep breath. We've seen the stage, we've read the script, we've understood the logic. Now for the grand finale. Let's put all these pieces together and watch our little calculator do its thing, from the very first click to the final answer on the screen. And it all begins right here on the GUI. You, the user, decide to type in the number 5, and then you click the plus button. That single click, that's our event. That's the starting gun that fires off the whole race. The moment you click, the event handler for that plus button wakes up. And if you look at its code, you can see its first job is to grab the numbers from the text boxes and pop them into those memory boxes, the variables that it's going to call A and B. Once it has those numbers safe and sound in its variables, the code does its one job. It adds A and B together. Then it takes that answer and puts it right back on the stage, displaying it in the result text box for you to see. And boom, the journey is complete. Click to code, to calculation, and back to the screen. And that's really the secret recipe. A visual element, like a button. An event, like a click. And the logic inside the event handler that uses variables and conditions to make something happen. This simple pattern, this is the blueprint for almost every single app you use on your phone or computer. So the next time you tap a button on your screen, you'll know it's not magic at all. It's just this elegant, logical process firing away behind the scenes. And this exact same combination powers everything from this tiny calculator to your favorite massive video game. So now that you know the secret, it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What could you build with it?